Hey, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. This is the Justice Voice podcast, and I'm Chelsea Hoffman, as per usual. And in this episode, I kind of want to talk about a popular YouTuber who's kind of been on and off of my radar for some time. But now I'm kind of feeling like I might want to comment on what's going on. And, as you hear, my phone's getting blown up in the background. I'm not going to edit it out. I don't really care. But anyways, the YouTuber that I'm referring to is Amberlynn Reid. Amberlynn Reid is a somewhat controversial, somewhat popular YouTuber who's uploaded for upwards of about a decade now. She's known for being extremely overweight. I mean, morbidly obese. I think her highest weight so far has been close to 600 pounds. I'm not entirely sure, though. I'm not a frequent viewer of her content, but for some reason, she shows up from time to time on my feed, and a lot of tea channels and react channels show up as well. I have actually followed a few, Zachary Michael being one of the commentators that he's my favorite. He's a fun guy. I like him a lot. Some of the other reaction channels, though, I'm not sure. I don't know how to feel about some of them. To be frank, I don't know how to feel about Amberlynn Reid. This whole thing, I'm diving into it and documenting it on this podcast as I'm diving, so bear with me. I want to repeat that I have a very surface level understanding of who Amberlynn Reid is. I don't believe I have ever sat and watched more than 2 or 3 minutes of any of her content. The vast majority of Amberlynn's content that I've seen has been through reaction channels. And again, these are not things that I go out of my way to find. For some reason, they pop up on my home feed. And I understand that could be because of some of the content that I've produced myself. I've mentioned my disdain toward the fat acceptance movement. So I think maybe a lot of content about, overweight people pop up on my home feed. Amberlynn Reid, Foodie Beauty, Glitter and Lasers, all being some of the names that pop up. I'm interested in Amberlynn Reid's situation right now, though, because it seems that she's getting a lot more vitriol than usual. And now it's making me curious about what's going on in this woman's life. Like, again, I've never had much interest in her. I don't know a damn thing about her, but these reaction channels talking about her being with a feeder, moving to a different state, dropping her life on a dime, and having this toxic history with relationships and neglecting her weight loss. Yeah, now I'm a little bit hooked. Now I'm going to start clicking her videos, seeing what's going on with Amber. Who is she? What is she about? Yeah, I'm rambling. But I've noticed that there's a lot of things being said by reaction channels, and I'm noticing it's kind of a trend. At first sight, when you're watching Amberlynn Reid and then seeing her reaction, people reacting to her, the idea of what's the big deal, why is she unlikable, why do people dislike her so much, becomes prevalent with people who don't really know a lot about her. And I'm going to admit again, I don't know much about her. So yeah, I'm one of those people who's viewing this as a total outsider, wondering, why do people dislike this woman so much? Why does she have such a huge following of hate watchers who devote so much of their time picking apart everything that she says, everything that she does, everything that she posts in such a negative, toxic way? This is just my point of view. This is just my initial superficial, surface level observation. So hopefully my point of view can change. So let's go on a journey together. I'll stop rambling now while my phone's blowing up. When first encountering an Amberlynn Reid video, it all appears as if this is just a morbidly obese woman who lives primarily as a shut-in and has very few friends, very, very few family members to whom she can relate with or spend time with. And so she uses YouTube and social media as an outlet to connect with other people outside of her little bubble. A lot of her posts on YouTube and on Instagram and various other platforms throughout the years display a repeated failure at keeping up with weight loss and other goals in her life. She appears to live in several cycles at once. She'll embark on a new relationship, embark on a new business venture, embark on a weight loss journey, and simultaneously start failing at all of those things little by little. And then it's a sort of repeat of all of that over and over and over again. While she also appears to talk about various mental illnesses that she may or may not have been diagnosed with, her behavior online does appear to show a level of behavioral or poor emotional or mental health. And then when you dive into her childhood, her upbringing, which Amberlynn has evidently been quite public about, things start to kind of explain this overall picture that Amberlynn has painted of herself publicly. She was evidently born addicted to drugs. Both of her parents had substance abuse issues before, during, and after her childhood. So she did not come from very happy or stable beginnings. She clearly had a lot of issues that stem from being born literally addicted to addictive substances, and the emotional instability as well as the home instability that comes from being born of addicted parents. These are things that I actually have experience with as well, on top of the weight struggles. So I feel, as a surface level person who has very little knowledge of the controversies surrounding Amberlynn, I feel like I could kind of relate with her. I've had struggles with obesity as well. I come from drug abusing parents, and instability in the home, things of that nature that definitely shaped who I became as an adult. So it's not surprising to me to see that Amberlynn Reid is struggling with obesity, sticking to goals, and other things in her life that appear to attract a whole lot of hate her way. And as I said earlier, there's this ever-existent theme with people like me who don't know much about her, that tea and reaction channels will repeat this, that you'll come into this not knowing much about Amber and seeing on the surface that it looks like she's just a fat woman being picked on by a bunch of people. But according to all these tea channels and commentary channels, the more you peel away the layers and the more you pay attention and the more you get to know Amberlynn Reid, I guess the more you realize that, according to them, that she's a pretty bad person. I don't know. Again, I'm not saying that she is a bad person. And I'm starting this out with close to zero bias. And when I say close to zero instead of zero, I will admit, I do kind of relate to Amberlynn on the surface of what I've seen so far. The obesity struggles, the drug issues in the family, things of that nature, not having a stable upbringing. I feel for her. I had the same kind of issues growing up. As far as I know, I wasn't born on drugs or anything. My mom wasn't like an addict. My dad was the addict in my situation. But definitely can relate with Amberlynn, so I do sympathize with her. So maybe I am coming at this now, currently, with the tiniest amount of bias. But I'm going to dig deeper, guys. Okay, so I found a basic list of complaints that people have about Amberlynn Reid. And I'm going to, try to go through them and give my take. Now, this is just a list I found online of things. It's controversies that she's found herself in. By no means is this through any of my own research. This is a pre-existing Amberlynn Reid wiki page, and I'm just going to kind of look through it. Okay, so apparently in 2015, Amberlynn filmed herself riding around Walmart in a mobility scooter. I guess this attracted a lot of disdain her way because at this time she wasn't disabled, or she isn't disabled. I guess, according to this wiki page, she, quote, attempted to justify this by claiming that she was suffering from her feet and that this Walmart housed a surprisingly high number of scooters compared to others. Look, I don't really know what to say about this because it's 2015. Back in 2015, I was spending most of my time neck deep in true crime stories, working on a Madeline McCann book and things of that nature. I wasn't paying attention to this kind of shit, but I'm going to side with people that if you're not disabled, you don't need to be grabbing those mobility scooters. And it doesn't matter how many there are there. I don't care if there's 30 mobility scooters when you come into that Walmart. You don't know what's going to happen once you've come into that store. You don't know who's going to need those scooters. And if you're able to walk, even minimally, then walk. Especially if you're somebody, like, no offense, if you're somebody who can stand to lose a few pounds, then yeah, you definitely should be walking instead of, scootering around Walmart. Just my 2 cents. And again, that's coming from someone who is obese. And you know what? As fat as I've ever been, and I got almost as fat as 300 pounds in my life, I have never in my life gotten on one of those mobility scooters. No matter how bad my feet hurt, no matter how bad my knees hurt. Because you know what? I guess maybe my vanity or my self-consciousness, my self-awareness overpowered the pain in my knees and ankles and calves and whatnot. Because just the thought of being one of those morbidly obese Americans riding around Walmart in a scooter, I would rather roll down a hill off a cliff and just end it all. So I'm not going to try to speak for Amberlynn or shame Amberlynn for riding around in a mobility scooter when she wasn't disabled, because who knows what was going on. Like, I'm not going to try to defend her and say maybe she's disabled, maybe she was disabled. I'm not saying that, but like, I don't know, I'm not trying to judge somebody because I'm thinking like, how heavy was she in 2015? Let me look this up, hold on. Okay, Jesus. According to this Amberlynn Reid wiki, in 2015, her weight was between 414 and 422 pounds, which that is astounding. And again, I'm not going to say that she had any right whatsoever to use mobility scooters while not being disabled, but Jesus, at 422 pounds, how do you not use a scooter? How do you not buckle under your own weight? I don't know. I do not know. That's one where, yeah, I myself would never ever be caught riding around on one of those if I'm able to walk. But I don't know how somebody could really walk at over 400 pounds. I don't understand that. Anyways, moving on. Let's see. In 2016, according to this Amberlynn Reid wiki page, which I'm just going to breeze through real quick. Apparently in 2016, Amberlynn Reid accused a former partner of hers of sexual assault. The original video, I'm in an abusive relationship, has been deleted. But apparently that ex had posted a response video, according to this wiki page, saying that she, Amberlynn was not being honest. A lot of people believe that Amberlynn lied, but I don't know. I think this is another one of those situations where it's a he said, or, they said, she said, however you want to say it. That happens a lot in cases where somebody is accused of sexual assault. And if I recall correctly, not too long ago, weren't we all saying that you should believe anyone who says that they were sexually assaulted? I don't know. I'm not going to say that Amberlynn Reid was lying or telling the truth. I just, this situation just always irks me when it's involving people that are overwhelmingly disliked. Like, when Trisha Paytas accused someone of sexually assaulting her in her past, everyone immediately decided, oh, she's a liar. She's not telling the truth because we don't like her and she's Trisha and she just lies all the time and she's a hot mess. Which, that might be true. She might be not telling the truth. Or maybe she is telling the truth. And just because you don't like somebody and just because they're not popular doesn't mean that they're 100% dishonest 100% of the time. Bad things can happen to bad people. But I digress. Back on the Amberlynn Reid situation. If she has a history of lying, which I'm seeing in a lot of the cases of people speaking out against her, it seems that she does fib and spin the truth an awful lot. It's hard. It's hard to believe somebody. If you lie a few times, it's like the boy who cried wolf. After you mislead people a certain number of times, and it doesn't matter. If you say the sky is blue, they're all going to have to go outside and look for themselves, because you cannot be trusted as a source of information for anything if you're a proven liar in the eyes of everyone around you. So yeah, that's if she accused somebody of sexually assaulting her and she's already viewed as a dishonest person, then it makes sense that people would just automatically side with the idea that she's lying. On the other hand, I don't see that there's been any resolution to that situation one way or the other. Has it ever been proven that she was assaulted, or has it ever been proven that she lied about this? Has she ever spoken about this? I'm gonna have to look this up. See, this is what happens. I am literally crawling down a rabbit hole as I'm recording this podcast, and that's just what happens on a Thursday. Or is it a Friday? Holy crap, it's Friday. All right. Well, this is just what happens on a Friday afternoon when I'm left to my own devices on the internet. So, yeah. Anyway, I'm trying to do a quick little search here. I can't really find a video personally where Amberlynn Reid has addressed whether or not she lied about the sexual assault allegation that she made against an ex. I can't find that. So maybe one of you, or any of you out there listening to this right now, get back to me. Has she ever addressed this? I want to know. I want to know what's up with that. All right, I'm just going to kind of cruise through some of these controversies. Animal abuse. Her dog Twinkie's nails were too long and she was ungroomed. People complained about that. I don't know if that's abuse. Maybe borderline neglect. Maybe her dog has a problem getting her nails clipped. I've had dogs that will damn near rip your arm off if you try to clip their nails. But that's why you take them to a vet or a groomer, I guess. I don't know. Yeah, it just seems like a lot of this here that people have against her, just general dislike. They just don't like her, so anything she does is like, oh, look what she did. Oh, look what she did. Oh, I get that. No, when you don't like somebody, it's like they could just be minding their own business, vibing, and you're just like, I hate that motherfucker. So I'm not hating. I'm petty too, guys. Some of this, her failed diet stuff, she started taking one of those injectables. I can't remember which one, if it was Ozempic or another one, or Wegovy. I don't know. I guess she would do that for a little bit and then quit doing that, and she just has a history of just constantly, oh, I'm starting this, I'm going to lose some weight this time, guys, and then she just completely crashes and goes completely off the rails. That's kind of been irritating to me, every time I see it, but then at the same time, I can relate because I have a terrible, terrible history of doing the same thing. And that's, high key. I've never started a YouTube about weight loss or anything like that because of that, because I'm terrible at sticking to weight loss. I've also found that the only way that I can successfully lose weight is if I just mind my own business and treat my life like I'm not actively losing weight, if that makes sense. When I left my husband last year, over a year ago, I moved into an apartment on my own. I got a second floor apartment where I had to go up and down stairs all the time. And I just spent a lot of my time just walking around doing stuff on my own, just hanging out, vibing. Next thing you know, I dropped 60 pounds, and the weight keeps, it keeps dropping, but at the same time, I'll put on a little bit here and there. I gained 4 pounds between June and recently, so that's not good. But anyways, Whew, I'm rambling. Back to the whole topic with the Amberlynn Reid. Like, I totally, while I get how irritating it is to watch this woman who is so obese, she is slowly killing herself with food and her whole lifestyle. So watching her go on these diets with the gumption, and the gung ho attitude that she's gonna do it, she's gonna be successful, only to see her like clockwork just drop it within weeks or months is so incredibly frustrating. And it seems like ever since she posted her first video about wanting to lose weight, which was years and years and years ago, like a decade ago, it seems that the only thing that has ever happened since then has been that she has gained an astounding amount of weight. She has not lost, she has only gained. And that's just mind blowing. As for the stuff that people seem to hate her for, like, yeah, some of this makes her, I guess, a bad person. But is it bad as in, like, we need to sharpen the pitchforks and devote all of our time to just going after her and only talking about her and just hyper fixating on her? Or what? Like, what am I missing, y'all? What am I missing? I know that a lot of the things that people say is that she's very abusive in relationships, which I've started to kind of look into that a little bit. I guess one of the things that she is on the, what do you call it, the popularity train with is borderline personality disorder, which she says that she has, BPD. So I know that people with BPD struggle in relationships, and there's sometimes accusations of abuse when on the partner who has BPD. And it's similar to dating a narcissist. So I guess a lot of those struggles in her relationships have been due to her behavior and her personality problems, which I get. I've seen some of the clip videos that some of the reaction channels have posted showing her being mean or disrespectful or dismissive to some of her partners. So people seem to just genuinely just hate how she treats other people. I'm gonna admit, I've noticed that she seems to be kind of a princess who needs to be babied and taken care of and supported in just about every way. And a lot of it seems that she needs a caregiver more than a romantic partner, but that's just, I don't know if that's enough to go after someone and hate them for. It's just enough to kind of feel sorry for them. So I definitely feel sorry for Amberlynn Reid with a lot of this shit. But I have noticed recently, I don't know if it's false concern or, facetiousness, but it seems that a lot of the reaction channels and a lot of the people who follow Amberlynn and who do, commentary videos on her, the shift from total hatred and disdain for her has shifted to concern surrounding her latest romantic endeavors. Apparently, Amberlynn has moved on to a new love in her life, a girl named Emily, but I believe that her nickname is Tommy or Tommy Salami. Apparently, she was in a relationship with a large woman shortly before her and Amberlynn Reid got together. But this former relationship of hers didn't end the way most relationships end. Her former significant other passed away, apparently due to complications with extreme obesity. It's come to light through some of the reaction channels and commentary channels that frequently talk about Amberlynn Reid that Tommy and her former partner were involved in the feederism fetish community, and that Tommy might have not only enabled the condition that killed her former fiance or wife, but she directly took part in it. So people are kind of concerned for Amberlynn. They believe that she's gotten with Tommy foolishly because she's lonely and she needs somebody to take care of her. She doesn't like to be single for too long. But people are concerned that Tommy might be, predatory. She might have targeted Amberlynn Reid solely for the purpose of, getting her involved in feederism. And I'm going to admit that some of these claims and some of these worries do seem legitimate. Amberlynn Reid seems to be packing on the pounds, guys. But that's just on trend. with, like I said, ever since she posted her initial video claiming she wanted to lose weight back almost like a decade ago, or over a decade ago now, I think, she's done nothing but gain weight. So is this just par for the course for Amberlynn Reid, or is there a legitimate concern? That's something that now, like I said, having surface level knowledge of this woman, I have now jumped so deep down the rabbit hole that I am now worried about her, that she's being fed to death by this woman that she barely knows, that she has literally left her home and is in Wisconsin living with this woman right now. Of course, we don't know if she moved or whatever, but I guess she's been there for quite some time, at least 20 days now, something like that. So a lot of people are hyper fixated on this idea that Amberlynn has completely moved from her home and maybe even left her dog behind because they haven't seen any content featuring her dog. So people are really, really focused on this, really thinking that something bad is going to happen to Amber because she no longer has the support net of her mother around her or anybody that she really knows. So now I'm getting more interested in this and worried, like, as a true crime writer and somebody who follows various cases, I'm now becoming worried that I'm witnessing in real time the beginning of a future crime story. And that's because of the situation surrounding Tommy Salami, the new girlfriend of Amberlynn Reid. As I said earlier, Tommy and her former fiance or wife, her partner, were once involved in the feederism fetish community shortly before her partner died. Somebody recently pointed out that a comment that Tommy made on one of Amberlynn Reid's photos or videos, some post she made, was word for word the same things that she said at the funeral or memorial of her dead partner. So that right there, I had to go and like listen to this, and it gave me the ick, y'all. I don't know. Like I said, I have very little knowledge of Amberlynn Reid. I've only just recently started like digging a little bit and watching more and paying attention to what people are saying. But oh man, Tommy gives me the creeps. Fuck. But judging from Amberlynn Reid's kind of demeanor and attitude towards people who show concern for her, I am worried that any kind of concern that's being shown toward her, especially by people who are reaction channels and people that she sees as haters, I think that's just going to push her to double down even harder on being in this relationship with someone that might possibly be incredibly dangerous for her. So I don't know where I'm going with that. That's just an observation that I'm making, but let me know what you guys think. And like I said earlier, for those of you who are more well versed in this Amberlynn Reid universe, or what is being called Goral World, please come for me. Let me know what I'm missing out on. Let me know what I've gotten wrong. What am I missing that has people just so damn hateful towards Amberlynn? I want to know. I'm not trying to challenge anyone. It's not about that. I'm genuinely curious. I need to know what I'm missing, because a decade of her posting and a decade of people like hate watching her and commentating and reacting to her videos. There's no way that I'm going to find out in just a couple of days on my own. Y'all give me some cliff notes and I'll start looking into it. But anyways, I'm going to cut this one down a little bit. I'm still interested. I want to come back and talk more about Amberlynn Reid. But I am going to cut this one down because 30 minutes is good. 30 minutes is a good episode. Yeah. So until next time, bye y'all.